Hi guys, in this video I'm going to share with you the top 5 things that I wish I knew before I delivered my baby, and these are things where I probably knew a little bit about, but I really learned completely about it only after I actually went through the process. It's stuff that I wish I had read somewhere before I actually delivered, or someone would have told me about it. In any case, I went through with it, but I'm hoping that by sharing these 5 things, it would help you if you are about to go onto the journey, either for the first time or again. And I wanted to do this while it's all still fresh in my mind. I delivered my first beautiful baby about a month and a half ago, but these are the things that I have learned during the delivery process. First one is about the estimated due date. So the word estimated, they didn't put it there for no reason. It is truly an estimation. Like, I thought that it would be around that time. It would be like give or take 1 or 2 days at most in terms of the difference, but it can actually vary quite a bit. So my estimated due date was on the 3rd of November, but I gave birth actually on the 25th of October, which was almost about 2 weeks before my estimated due date. So I think as long as you have passed the 37th week mark and your baby's kind of full term, you can basically be prepared to actually be delivering anytime. In fact, some of my friends actually delivered from 34 weeks onwards. And it could also work the other way around, whereby you could be delivering way beyond your 40 weeks, which is the due date estimation. So my advice is, if you're working, just make sure that I would say at the 36th or even the 35th week, try to get everything sorted out, try to do whatever handovers that you need to do ASAP, and also try to just kind of give real heads up to the people that you're working with your stakeholders, with your bosses, that I may be gone anytime soon. So I was working on a very big project before I left, and I was starting to feel a little bit of cramps, and they were actually contractions. I didn't know that they were contractions at that time, but I did feel like physically my body was changing a little bit, and I felt a lot more tired, and I just kind of knew that it was coming up soon. So I actually gave heads up to the people I was working with, like, look, you gotta get this done, you gotta learn from me what I'm doing, because I may be gone like any time now. And true enough, I actually had to go like quite unexpectedly. So just make sure that everything at work is kind of sorted out. The thing is to actually get your hospital bag prepared. I would say get it prepared like a month in advance, because it takes a while to accumulate all the things that you need to put in your hospital bag, and also because you never really know when you're actually going to go. Like for me, my experience was we went for our 38-week checkup with the doctor. We weren't expecting to deliver like 2 weeks later. However, he said, yeah, tomorrow come into the delivery suite and we will start inducing you because you look like you're ready. So thank God we got everything prepared, but I think mentally, I did not get myself mentally prepared at all. So when the doctor actually said that, I remember me and my husband, we were just sitting at the hospital lounge and we were just stoning, and we were like, okay, what do we do next? So we started calling our parents and all that. So everyone was also kind of taken aback. Like my mom, when I told her I'm gonna go to deliver tomorrow, I could hear like a 2, 3, 4 second silence on her end. She didn't know what to say. So yeah, that's the thing about the estimated due date. You never know when it's gonna come, so be prepared early, and be prepared that it might happen a lot earlier or a little bit later than your due date. So the second thing that I was not really familiar with, and I got very familiar with it during the process, was the contractions. So when I went through the classes, and from what I read, contractions were kind of supposed to happen around your belly area where the baby actually is. So in the end, for me, it actually felt not so much around the belly area. It actually felt a lot crampy, like downwards. Like it was more like period cramps for me, and apparently I was already having contractions when I was at work, but I just thought that they were like little cramps, and then during the actual labor process itself, it really felt like very painful period cramps for me. But of course it's different for everybody. Instead of it being like quite high up where I thought it would be, the cramps were quite low towards my vajayjay area, and towards the end it felt really bad. Like like you could feel that the baby was actually, you would think that the baby was already coming out very soon because the cramps were really low, but of course in reality the baby's head was probably quite high up as compared to your canal that is going to come out from. So that was interesting for me. I didn't know that it would be like period cramps. I mean, if I knew, I would be more mentally prepared, but yeah, the epidural definitely did help. Which brings me to my third thing, which I kind of learned, which is make sure that you do a lot of research with regards to the pain relief methods that is available out there. The hospital that I delivered in, they made sure that they helped me use like other types of pain methods before actually going to epidural. They gave me like a painkiller injection, they gave me the oxygen mask thing, and also, I mean, I kind of knew that I wanted to do epidural because I read up about it, and I just, a lot of my friends gave me advice that, look, no one's gonna give you a medal if you did your labor without epidural. So if you need it, just ask for it, and wait too long to ask for it, because there's like a certain period in time whereby it will be too late for you to ask for it. So I remembered that I was already having contractions for more than like 10 hours and I was in so much pain, started asking for epidural, and to my horror they refused to give it to me because you actually have to be dilated in a certain way, like a certain cm dilated. You have to be at least 3 centimeter dilated before they can actually do the epidural. So I was stuck at like 1-2 centimeters for the most part, like for at least 10 to 11 hours. Only during the second day that it was finally open to 3 centimeters that they could give me the epidural. So that was also unexpected, because I thought that, oh, if whenever I cannot tahan the pain already, I can just ask for epidural. So it's not the case. You still might need to wait it out until you get fully dilated. And which again brings me to the fourth thing, which I wish I knew more about, which is how to push. I know it sounds really stupid, and I probably should have really like read up or I should have gone for classes or whatever to learn how to actually push. It was actually quite embarrassing because I was told to push and then I really didn't know how to push, because I was apparently pushing with my face and I wasn't really pushing anything down there. So nurses actually had to teach me how to push, and the best way that they were describing it to me was just pretend that you're taking a dump and you just have to push every muscle that you have down there. So I don't know what came out when I was pushing. I'm pretty sure I pooped a little bit. Maybe that's too much information, but that's the reality of it. But at that moment in time, I guess you don't really care what happens. You just want to push as much as you can. When you do push, the contractions actually don't get any painful, so it actually feels a lot better when you do actually push. So that was another thing which I thought would be the most important thing for me to know, but surprisingly I don't know, I didn't really do any research about it. And even when I went for like the prenatal class, I went for an express class, so I don't really recall them teaching me much about the actual pushing itself. They talk about certain muscles, and I don't usually work out my vagina, you guys. So I don't, like when people say, oh yeah, you have to push that particular muscle in your vagina, I'm like, what? No, I don't know. The only thing I do is pee and other stuff, but I don't think you need a lot of muscles to do the other stuff, so I don't know. Okay, so the fifth thing and the last thing, which was kind of surprising to me, it happens after the delivery, and it's actually the breastfeeding part. So I actually didn't realize that the breastfeeding starts from like the first minute after you deliver. Well, not exactly the first minute, but it starts almost immediately. So where we deliver, they actually believe a lot in breastfeeding. Of course, I think every hospital wants you to breastfeed. And the second thing is they believed in like the skin to skin contact. So they would like get you to, I think you can see this in my vlog that I uploaded about my delivery. I actually had him on my chest and his skin was touching my skin, and they actually recommend the dads to actually do this as well, which is why when you see some delivery videos, you can actually see the dads without their shirts sitting in the hospital room and having their babies there, because it allows them to get to know your touch as well as the smell of the mom and the dad. And it was one of the most special moments that I had with my baby during his first few hours, actually, other than when I first actually saw him and I gave him his first kiss. And the skin to skin contact was actually quite special. So anyway, it was probably like within the next 10 minutes after I gave birth, and then we did the skin-to-skin contact, and the nurse just shoved my boobs into his mouth and he started breastfeeding. And I was like quite surprised, because in my head, and again I could have probably read this somewhere, I thought that the breastfeeding would happen like a day or 2 days later. No, it actually happens right away, so be prepared for that. Those are the 5 things that I kind of learned a lot more in depth during the delivery process itself. I'm not sure whether I could have read more about it, or if it's something that you just have to go through to kind of know it, but I'm hoping that it is useful to those of you who have not gone through it and you want to be a lot more mentally prepared. I think all the 5 things that I've mentioned, you don't really need to get yourself physically prepared. It's more of a mental preparation. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.